I'm here with Matt Rowlands from AWS for Games, and we're going to be picking your brain a little bit around, games, game AI, and the future of the field. So just for starters, to learn a little bit about you, what inspired you to get into tech and then game tech, right?
Yeah, sure. I've been programming since I got my first VIC-20 when I was 8 years old in 1980, and then I helped my dad write some device drivers when I was 14 in C, and I've been doing it ever since then at a pretty nerdy level. So yeah, that's kind of my origin story is Commodore machines, and I still love and I still do 6502 assembly and SID music. So,
That's awesome. That's like starting from the ground up, right? Like poking the processor almost.
I mean, today's a good day for wearing shorts, but I was very much wearing shorts when we started doing this stuff. Yeah.
And were you yourself like a player? Did you play a lot of games growing up, or was that something later?
I stopped at the beginning of 3D and had a big hiatus because I got busy doing other things. And then I got back into it about 5 years ago and realized how much I'd missed. And man, I missed a lot. So I'm still trying to play through some of the classics. Everyone's like, what? And yeah, I'm still catching up to modern days. I love the current new game I'm playing is Stray. Loving that. I'm cat exploring. Yeah, this is good. But my backlog is more embarrassing than any other Steam account holding person. I'm ashamed of my backlog.
Yeah, I think we'll have at least we want to get through, but it's hard these days, right? And so you gave a pretty interesting talk about how we can use some of that infrastructure to achieve some pretty interesting challenges. And given your work and your perspective, a lot of stuff happening over there at Amazon. What are you most excited about? And it can be on your work or on the horizon, kind of like for AWS for games.
Yeah, sure. So on a sort of nerdy tech front, I'm excited about how big games are getting in terms of multiplayer, concurrent stuff, and multi-worlds, and games living on multiple servers at the same time, and this kind of thing, like the scope and the scale of it is just it's getting really interesting at a technical feat kind of thing. On the ML side of things, seeing the huge steps forwards in ML agents, exploring things that's come from reinforcement learning and explorability of worlds and the interactions of characters in those worlds. And I'm working with a few quite young studios that are pushing really hard on this in EMEA at the moment, which gives me a good joy. I suppose those two are the things that the technological things that made me go, these are interesting times.
Yeah, for sure, right? Like a big explosion with a lot of players getting into this area. Yeah. Do you think this probably will, but how do you think it will impact the game development process, if at all?
Everything has impacted the game development process at the moment. We speak to so many people who are going, we're never going back to the office, or we're optionally going back to the office, and how do we keep everything? It's like game studios are well known for being very, very, very insular. No spoilers is the motto, basically, and you understand why. It's like 5 years of a secret they try and sit on and then go, ta-da! And doing that when everyone's remote is even harder, because they've got, how do we stop the source code being on someone's laptop when you get drunk and leave it in a bar, or whatever kind of situation, and countering that. So we help a lot of studios with sort of remote production and game production in the cloud with GPU-powered mega machines running in AWS, where they can have a thin client and stream 2 4K monitors worth straight to their home with any old laptop kind of thing hooked up. And this helps a lot, and sort of having the whole ecosystem somewhere secure and just pushing pixels down pipes to the developers, to the artists, to whoever. This really helps, and means they can hire from anywhere, because that's nothing. Loads of people went back to their families and whatever in the last 2 years, and with that they were like, now we're everywhere, so we can hire from everywhere. And they don't, before it's like, how are we going to ship a mega configured workstation to Brazil or something like that? And it's not so cheap and easy. But now they go, have you got a laptop? Cool, let's go. And that's it. It's like, connect to this. You'll get 2 4K monitors full of our configured workstation for you, and we can be up and running that day.
That's definitely amazing, yeah.
Yeah, it's I think it's helping put people back on track, who's like, you saw the slippages of all the announcements, everyone was like, it's coming late. And if we can help put things back on the rails a little bit, then great, happy days. I want to play the new stuff, just buy the backlog.
And So, given all that you were saying and the perspective you have from AWS and working with the game studios, what do you think the future of game AI is going to look like?
Oh, blimey. I think, collaborative teams. I think I do a lot of esports stuff. I help a lot of the esports companies because I'm based in Berlin and Germany loves esports, right? So a lot of them are hanging out there. And I think so we've had deep fakes and we've had voice cloning and things like that. I think it'd be interesting if we can get to the point where you can clone someone's play style and go, okay, G2 are up against this gang next week. I want to have a practice session as if it's those individuals playing against me. And like, you can do amateur league and you can do pro league, but getting to the pros is super hard. But imagine you can go, I want to play against the pros today and I want to play against that pro, make your fantasy team kind of thing. Go, I'm playing against my fantasy team with my own fantasy, and have those characteristics embedded into the opponents kind of thing. I think, so cloning play styles, I think it's an interesting thing that I would like to see coming, and I can imagine this is not far off.
Yeah, that's definitely a pitch. That was very interesting. That I can see that happening. It'll be pretty cool. So I don't know if you were here on Monday when we were talking about the demographics of the...
I flew in on Monday evening before the agenda was nailed down.
I'll just give you a quick peek. Turns out the audience skews pretty heavily towards students and early indies. So to a degree, we have like the next generation of game AI developers here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's self-evident that this is the next generation of interesting.
So with that, what would be your one advice or your main advice for the younglings over here in the audience?
One bit of advice is if you're in indies and you're in the next generation, you want to go to maybe not mega corp studios kind of thing, but the really interesting indie ones and the rest of it, then learn to use a lot of off-the-shelf tools to ship the non-interesting problems so you can focus on the interesting ones. You'll be solving maybe 2 problems that make your game different from anyone else's, and the rest of it is noise and it's commodity, and you use commodities to solve that, so you go back to doing the interesting. This is guard your time and pick off the shelf stuff and ship the problem, close it down, and fix your real differentiator kind of thing, what makes your game unique, whether it's like all the monsters look different every time or if it's your universe is generate different. That's non-trivial. Fixing is this a risque picture that someone's posted on our community forum? It's not interesting. It's a solved problem. Don't solve it.
Great. Don't reinvent the wheel kind of thing, right?
Totally. Yeah.
All right, Matt. That's all from our end. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll be seeing you around.
Yeah, good one. Thanks. Enjoy the rest.